Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Khalil Ekolona, and this is Nashville. We've got a super special show for you today. Recently, we hosted our first ever This Is Nashville stand-up special in the Nashville Public Radio Sonic Cathedral. We're about to have a lot of fun, but we want to let you know you may hear some immature themes. All right, we're going to drop into Nashville-based Rhonda Sweat, who's taking the stage. Rhonda, welcome to This Is Nashville.
Hello. Hey.
Take it away.
All right. Well, again, my name is Rhonda Sweat, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm still on this thing called a self-care journey. Anybody else? Woo, let's go. It's all right. So for me, I'm just trying to make my space a little more, elegant. I would like it to feel like strawberries and romance. Right now, it feels like ramen noodles and a one-night stand. That's what it feels like. So I decided to go to Lowe's and pick me out a good paint color. And I was perusing the paints, and I saw something called emerging taupe. Yes. Oh. For those that don't know, taupe is beige, khaki, So first of all, emerging taupe thinks he's better than us first. And then I got to thinking, what's up with emerging taupe? Why is he so emergent? What makes him so special? And I was like, did you, start from the bottom, now you're here? What's up with you? And if there's an emergent taupe, there's got to be an underachieving taupe somewhere sleeping in his mom's basement. That's what he's doing. And then there's got to be a narcissistic mother taupe stomping down the steps, pairing them to one another. You can also call her messy taupe.
Okay.
You can call her a lot of things. And so then I had to think about it. But where is absent father taupe? Where is he? Because he's got to be missing from the picture. And just to let you know where he is, he's been gone for a long time. I don't know if he works too much. I don't know if he went out to get some bread, never came back. He might be gay now. I don't know. I'm not sure where he is, So that's what's up with the taupe family. Yeah. And that's why I don't do drugs. Because those are my regular thoughts at 2:00 in the afternoon. That's what that is. And so, but I am trying to do better. My church, we had a 21-day fast, and I couldn't do no meat. I couldn't do that. So I did no processed food, no fast food, no chips, cookies, things like that. And I did pretty good until it was time to go to sleep. I started having these dreams. My first dream, I was asleep, and I was trying to wake up, and in my head, it kept saying, there are some now laters on the dresser. If you could just wake up and get some now laters. I had a pineapple now later. I had banana, all the good ones, cherry. And I woke up and they weren't there. My subconscious, it betrayed me. So then a couple of nights later, I had a dream that I was eating chips. I feel like that was kind of normal. But then I looked down and it was a big bowl of chips. And then I looked down even further. I was in a tub of Lay's potato chips. And all I could think was, I really hope I have on my panties because I don't want to have any chips go to waste, These chips are important to me in my dreams. And my last dream that I had, it was a snowstorm. It was a blizzard. It was it was just a wind. You know how the snow can go crisscross. It was really, really bad. And then I was in a bank or something so I could see outside. And then all of a sudden, this beautiful edifice appears. It's it was beaming from heaven. And it was a Taco Bell. That's what it was. And in my dream, I was considering running through traffic in a blizzard to get a cheesy gordita. Why? Mm-hmm. I was in pain. I guess it was a problem, but I made it through. I'm happy for myself. I'm proud of myself for making it through. But I really do want to lose some weight. But the first thing I got to do is stop looking at workout videos as if it counts. I'm all in sometimes. I'll watch it just sitting there stagnant the whole time. One time I had the nerve to be tired. I was like, woo, it sure did look hard. Another thing I have to do, I have to stop eating in the bed, yes, while watching my 600-pound life. Pride sneaks in, first of all. It's wrong. You know, pride will sneak in. You think you're better than them. But then as you're scooping brownies out your chest, you're like, you know what? Me and Cindy are the same person. Like, I need to really take a step back from this. Like, this is that's something I just got to do. I got to stop that. But I do have my guilty pleasures, and I'm going to share them with you because I want them to be all of our guilty pleasures. So what I need everybody to do is go home and YouTube people that pass out on roller coasters. That is the best thing ever for me. And it's better if you have somebody with you so you can bet on who's going to pass out, you know, because you really don't know. They don't tell you. They don't point the arrow. And you just got to guess, like, okay, all right. And so when you're guessing, y'all can put the money on the table because it's fun. And then when they go up, generally what's going to happen is, you know, as they pass out, you can decide, you know, are they going to call on Jesus? Like, what's going to happen? Are they going to confess all of their sins? Are they going to break up with that person? What's going to happen before they pass out on this roller coaster? And I love it because the best one is when they're like, ah, and they're out. They're just man down. They're out. And just the beauty of it, it is just absolutely, positively beautiful to me. I don't know what it is. So then they're just up. So then you can also guess how many times their head is going to hit the back of the roller coaster ride. Because their head is going to bobble. It's going to be a bobblehead, like it's a baby on a rodeo. It's like all over the place, this bobblehead baby. And the part I love the most, and you all please don't judge me, I love when they wake up from passing out and they notice that they're still in the air. Oh my God, it's wonderful. It is wonderful. The terror, I mean the excitement in their eyes brings me such joy, you know? And I don't know if that makes me a bad person. It probably does, but I'm okay with it. At this point, I'm okay with it, you know? The dating scene in Nashville is weird. I do attract younger men. I assume they were breastfed. I assume that. Or they like hot dogs growing up, because I have one of those long, you know, the long booties. No apple bottoms here. It's long. It's long. It won't clap. It doesn't do that. You know, you have to manually do that, you know. It's more like the praying hands. That's really what you're going to get back there. You're going to get some praying hands. But it's weird. You know, I enjoy, you know, I don't know why I attract the younger men. But my cousin, on the other hand, she attracts older men. She does. And I call her the geezer pleaser. They love her. But there was this one dude that she, you know, was with, and he really was great. So they went on a date, and he called and left her a message because he can't text. And here's the message. She let me listen to it because she's a horrible person. And I listened intently because I, too, am a horrible person. So this is the guy. He was like, girl, it's something about you, girl. Like, wow. Your lips, your eyes, wowie, wow. Your body next to mine, girl, wowie, wow, wow. This is a true story. This is a true story. I told her, please save that message for my deathbed. Because everybody needs a wowzer, especially when you're on your way out. You know, how good is that? Like, you know what, Rhonda, she was a good woman. Made people laugh and wow. Really gonna miss her smile and how she just made you all warm inside. Like, wowie, wow. My name is Rhonda Sweat. That's my time. Thank you so much.
Give it up for Rhonda Sweat, y'all. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Khalil Ekalona, and we're here in the Nashville Public Radio Sonic Cathedral for our first ever This Is Nashville stand-up special. We just heard from Rhonda Sweat. Now we're going to invite her into stage, and I'm going to ask her a couple questions. Rhonda Sweat, everybody. Rhonda, that was great. That was so much fun. That was very funny. Thank you.
Thank you.
How's it going?
It's going good. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're really happy for having you here. Now, you've lived in Nashville for some time. How long?
I was born in St. Louis, but I've been here since I was 3-ish.
Oh, word.
And I'm 46, so that I am a native. I am a unicorn.
You are a Nashvilleian.
Yes, I'm a Nashvilleian.
How you feel about the city these days?
I love where I live. That's what I should say.
Okay.
I mean, it's changed so much. I mean, it's so much, development and growth, and people, can't afford to be here, and that's kind of saddening. But it's still home to me. So you kind of take the good with the bad, and you keep it pushing.
What about Nashville is funny to you? What brings humor when you look at your city, your town?
What brings humor? When you have a 3-story house next to 100 square feet, but they still are the same price. That's kind of humorous to me. It's kind of crazy, but that brings humor to me.
Do you look at the people who buy the 3-story house and you like, I don't want you to get on the stand-up comedy scene because y'all are clowns?
No, I'm looking at their knees. I'm like, you've got to have really good knees to go up them steps every day. And ankles. Like, I'm wondering how they're doing it.
How'd you get into stand-up?
I had a boyfriend that used to tell me that I was so funny and that I missed my calling. So one day I looked up a class at Third Coast Comedy Club, took the class, and I actually was good at it. And I surprised him with a showcase. It was on Valentine's Day, 2020. And so I had the show. It went well, but the world shut down.
Yes.
And then a year and a half later, I felt God tapping me on the shoulder. It was like, hey, you got all these dreams and wishes. Like, this is your door. This is your opportunity. So I had to get back up and do it again, and then just get into it. The boyfriend's no longer with me.
No.
Now, he's not dead. He's no longer with me.
He's just gone.
But comedy stayed, though, so I'm excited.
That's right. Okay, so where do you draw your material from? Where do you get your stuff?
Right now, it's from my life. My whole 45 minutes that I have right now is from things that have happened in my life right now. That's the easiest way to start. The easiest thing to talk about is you. But, as time goes, you can kind of pull from other experiences and kind of develop material. But in the beginning, it's just easier to write about yourself, and nobody else can be you. So it's great.
And now, as you were getting more accustomed to being in the profession and the craft, family and friends, I'm sure, are excited. They're like, oh, my God, Rhonda, you've been funny all this time. We're so glad you're doing it. Are they like peppering you with stories and ideas?
No, not really, because it depends on who you are. Some people look at me I'm a very serious person. I have degrees and all that good stuff. So I can be that solemn, kind of quiet person.
Okay.
But then other people are like, yeah, you've been doing this a long time. And they don't remind me of anything. You know what? That's a good idea. They need to give me some material from back in the day, because I don't remember that much.
Be
but
careful, though. They might ask for a cut.
Yeah, well, no, they're not. No.
Like a co-writer credit.
No.
But they say it's always the quiet ones who are the wild ones.
Hey, that's what they say.
All right. So what is it like to be on the scene? I imagine you're doing like tours and things like this. What's it like to go into a brand new city, particularly like your first time around when you're performing for folks?
It is exciting. You're very nervous, but you're kind of, if you're smart, you learn to kind of look around, get a lay of the land, and kind of get the vibe of the place. You want to kind of not necessarily match the vibe, but you want to know where you are. So it's just kind of a mix of being yourself, being authentic at all times, but also being open and welcoming enough to where people feel comfortable with you, being able to let go, enjoy, laugh, things like that. So the first time is always kind of tricky because you just don't know where you are, but it's good to get there a little early, scout the city, see what's funny about the city.
Okay.
Nashville has a lot of potholes. So, that's a good joke for somebody coming in like, yeah, those 3 potholes that I just went through, how do you all live through that? But That's how you kind of break the ice with a new audience.
What's the strangest crowd you've ever performed for?
Oh, the strange people. They're all around. I think the strangest audience that I had, this lady was having a wonderful time. She was having a good time, but she was a silent laugher. She was all bubbling in joy, but you couldn't hear it. You know what I'm saying? So so it was just odd, because a little bit of me, I'm like, no, I'm killing it because this lady's having a great time. But then I don't want to like stop just to talk to this lady and say, hey, ma'am, like, can you please, the volume, like, just put it up just a little bit for me. I would appreciate it. So that's the strangest.
That was the strangest crowd
so far.
How do you deal with hecklers?
It depends. So a heckler, you can make two choices. You can not engage. And generally, if they're like drunk and just extra loud, don't engage. It's really the club or whoever's the promoter's responsibility to get them out. Then if it's kind of a light heckler, go ahead and enjoy it. Like, enjoy the conversation with them. Some people just want to talk to you, or they hadn't talked to anybody in 30 years. So this is their opportunity. So go ahead and have the conversation with them. Try not to be mean to the people, but it's okay to talk.
I noticed a lot more comedians are doing like a lot of crowd work. They go out there and they work the crowd in anticipation of hecklers. I mean, have you ever had somebody who thought, I can do a better job than her. Give me the mic. I want to get on stage.
Yes, I have.
How do you handle that?
You give them the mic.
Oh, bet.
Yeah, and chances are they cannot do it. Like, it's a hard job to sit up and make people laugh consistently for a long period of time. But of course, somebody's gonna think they're better than you at all times. But yeah, go ahead and let them try.
Let them try, and they'll find out. Was they say F around and find out?
Yep.
Yes. You know what we found out? We found out that Rhonda Sweat is a hilarious comedian. Everybody give it up for Rhonda Sweat. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Marcus Lustig is going to be taking the stage. Stick around. This is Nashville.
Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Khalil Colonna, and this is Nashville. We've got a fun show for you today. We hosted our first ever This Is Nashville stand-up special at the Nashville Public Radio Sonic Cathedral. We are really excited to share it with you today. So sit back and get ready for some fun stand-up. We also want to let you know you may hear some mature themes. All right, we're going to pick it back up with Nashville comedian Marcus Lustig.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate being here, guys. I feel like Khalil's warm-up comic. Like they have that on Ellen. Like if every day I came out and got everybody in a live audience really excited, and then Khalil was like, today we're going to talk about inequality in Nashville schools or something. I'm excited to be here, guys. I'm a WPLN listener. I am, Yeah. Not often a donator, but a listener. So got to get that off. But Khalil A. Colonna, Nina Cardona, Mariana Bacalhau. These are names that were meant to host radio. I gotta tell you guys. Sometimes I think that as a baby, they were like to Mariana, like, you're gonna be a justice and equality reporter. You're gonna have office hours with Mayor Freddie, This is good. I can see you guys very clearly. The lights are on. Someone's eating yogurt in the front row. This is good. Not really in a place in my career to say no to something like this. So, no, this is great. I'm happy to be here. I live in Nashville. I was just in Atlanta earlier this week. Atlanta and Nashville, 2 different time zones. I always forget that. That always surprises me. It always feels like there should just be one Southern time zone. I feel like knowing the South would be like, we want our own time zone. Give it to us. That'd be bad news, man, if the South did get its own time zone, Because you'd have Eastern Standard Time and Pacific Coast Time and the good old days. So probably good that we don't. It's probably... I'm Marcus, guys. I was talking about your guys' names. I'm Marcus. My last name is Lustig, which actually means funny in German. That's true, yeah. But when I was in 4th grade, my grandma told me that it meant gay. And she meant like the old definition of gay, like happy, funny gay, like mirthful. Like full of mirth. But I was in 4th grade and did not know that definition and was like, Grandma, you need to keep your mouth shut. If this gets out at school, I am toast, okay? It is over. And I guess in retrospect, what I was afraid of were like bullies who were ignorant enough to make fun of being gay, but well-read enough to translate German. So bullies who were like, Lustig, I think we all know that comes from the root word lustigus, meaning man love. Bullies who are like, we got to translate more languages, boys. Come on. We're working on the romance languages next. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and get this. I feel comfortable with you guys. I got to tell you, I'm actually happy that the holidays are over, to be honest, because I'm done with people. I'm glad people aren't asking me, how was your Hanukkah anymore, because I get that a lot, and I think people are trying to be respectful and nice, But I think a lot of Christians think that Hanukkah and Christmas are like equal levels of important, and they're not. Hanukkah, I don't know if you guys know, is not an important holiday. And I know people are trying to be nice, but like when people are like, how was your Hanukkah? To me, that's like, I hear like, how was your Flag Day? How was that did you and your family have a good Flag Day? Was that good for you guys? I heard you guys love Flag Day. Is that true? Because does anyone here know what Hanukkah is about? Yeah? A little bit? Yeah? I'm Jewish. Okay. We're gonna pass on you then. Anybody? Or actually, you can say one word. What's it about? Oil. Oil burning for. Thank you. That's perfect. Yeah. Hanukkah is about oil in a lamp lasting longer than it was supposed to have lasted. That's what it's about. So I was trying to explain to my friend like Hanukkah and Christmas not equivalent levels of importance. So I was like, what's Christmas about? He was like, oh, well, it celebrates the miraculous virgin birth of God on earth as man. And I was like, that's beautiful. He was like, what's Hanukkah about? I was like, has your iPhone battery ever been on 1%? And you were like, this is going to die before I get home. And then it didn't die. That's what Hanukkah's about, okay? So they're not equivalent. Oh, this is great to do, guys, because, I enjoy a morning show. People aren't drinking, I don't drink when I do comedy because, drinking makes me honest. Like, when I'm drunk, I'm honest. I feel like doing comedy is about taking something real and spinning it into something funny, but I'm afraid if I do comedy drunk, I'll say the real thing behind the joke. Does that make sense? So, sober, the joke is breakups are crazy, man. Breakups are crazy. But drunk, I would just be like, is Emily here? She's never here. She's in Knoxville. No, I did go out on a date recently with a girl who described herself as an old soul. Do you guys know that expression, old soul? I feel like people who describe themselves as old souls are actually the most 2025 people. It's always people who would never have survived in olden times. She was like, I'm an old soul. I was like, you're a podcaster. She was like, I'm an old soul. I was like, you take your dog to a salon. In college, you were a gender studies major. Do you know what they would have said to you in olden times? They would have said, how did this witch get into our university? This is amazing. And yeah. We got a gender studies major in the crowd. Someone's reconsidering her Judith Butler. That's a WPLN joke. She said she thought I was an old soul. She was like, I feel like you should have been born 100 years ago. You belong in the last century, And I was like, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I am a small Jew. It's the best time I could have ever been born. Not a lot of good options, but I would choose 97 when I popped out, First of all, the small thing. I know we're on radio, but for people at home, I have sort of the frame of a jockey or a coxswain or a Miyazaki character. There's the frame of an elderly Japanese woman tending a garden in the shadow of Mount Fuji. These are book hands, okay? These are hands for books. These aren't hands to kill, but hands to read To Kill a Mockingbird. And see, that joke is wordplay based on the word kill. And I was like, that's clever. I should make everybody listen to me say that. Which is exactly why in the past they would have been like, let's kill this guy. That and the Jew thing, probably more. Probably more. I don't think that the Nazis were like, we hate wordplay. We have a final solution for the puns. I like the idea of, you guys are rolling. I'm going to push you on this. I got the microphone, guys. I like the idea of a Nazi who has like a guilty pleasure Jewish thing. Like the way that a high dining chef might have a junk food that he still, sneaks every once in a while. So like a Nazi who's like, I get it, I hate Sam. I'm a Nazi, but I love Adam Sandler movies. Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. I hate Rob Schneider, though. Like, even a Nazi knows enough to be like, Rob Schneider, I hate that guy. Okay, guys. Okay. All right. Trying to decide what to tell you. I don't know. Look, I'm learning about work. I'm growing up. Getting older, learning about myself, still surprise myself. Like, I shushed a group of teenage girls at Wicked. I really surprised me. I didn't think I was that person, I went into the bathroom afterwards and I looked in the mirror and I was like, you are braver than you ever imagined. You are so strong. All right, I'll tell you guys one more thing and then I'll stop. This is a story. This is from when I was a kid. I spent a lot of my summers at Jewish sleepaway camp. And kind of like VBS, if you guys have been there, but, more Semitic. And there was this thing that girls would do at camp, okay, when I was a kid, where at least once a month to not get in the pool, girls would say they had an ear infection. Okay, once a month, girls would say they had an ear infection to not get in the pool. I was like a 13-year-old boy who couldn't figure this out. I was like, why do the boys never get ear infections and the girls always get ear infections, So I eventually asked my friend about it, and she was like, well, we say ear infection like wink, wink. And I was like, I don't understand. And she was like, we say ear infection, but like, it's our time of the month. And I was like, I don't get it. And she was like, we're bleeding out of our vaginas. And I was like, you have an ear infection so bad. How can you hear me right now? All right, guys, I'm Marcus Lustig. Thank you for your time today.
That was Marcus Lustig. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Khalil A. Colonna. This is Nashville. We're here in the Nashville Public Radio Sonic Cathedral for our stand-up special. Give it up for Marcus, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Marcus, that was pretty funny, man.
Thank you for having me, Khalil. I'm excited to be here. I've listened to you a lot.
Thank you. Thank you
so
very much.
You got a lovely voice.
Thank you. Yeah, I was born with it.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
As a child?
Yeah.
That would have been actually really disturbing.
I remember when the day it dropped. I was about 14, waiting outside December for the bus and Chantel Robinson came up, and she was my age, but she dated like seniors and everything, so she was very, very intimidating. And she's like, "Good morning, Khalil," and I was like, "Good morning." She's like, she looked at me, she said, "That's what I'm talking about," and I was like, "Oh snap! I think I might ask her to prom in a couple years."
What was her name?
Chantel.
I think everyone has a Chantel in their past.
Who's yours?
I don't know. There was a girl at camp whose name was Carly Hooker. That was my first camp girlfriend, actually. I did a tour of all these Jewish sleepaway camps around the country where we did comedy shows at different sleepaway camps, and I actually told a joke about Carly Hooker's name. And the joke was stupid. It was just like that her last name Hooker had been shortened at Ellis Island from sex worker. And I did that joke and no one really laughed, but one kid in the audience did call out, "I know Carly Hooker." So, but it was probably Carly for me, I would say.
Okay. Now, you're from D.C., right?
Yeah, I grew up in D.C., that's correct.
What brought you to Nashville?
So I moved here actually for a job. I work at 800 Pound Gorilla Media, which is a pretty large media company in the world of stand-up comedy. So we make a lot of comedy projects, both for like the streamers like Netflix and HBO and Hulu, and also have our own pretty large audience on our website and our YouTube channels and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's weird that it's here in Nashville, but it's in part because it started as a record label. So it was a comedy record label back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean 2016. It was not founded that long ago.
Some people, that is a long time ago. I mean, pre-COVID, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the before times.
It's funny, though, because when I talk to folks, they come here either for a job or because of a partner, either a boy or a girl they were following here.
Yeah, not me. I guess the only girl I was following here was my grandma. She lives here.
That's a worthy follow.
For sure. Honestly, moving here had nothing to do with her, but it was a nice coincidence that she was here.
Nice.
Because actually, here's the thing. I grew up in D.C., but my dad's from here, and my grandma lives here and stuff. So I grew up coming to Nashville. But it's not like I did Nashville things. I just kind of sat on my grandma's couch, which was covered in plastic.
Yes. Gotta keep it right. Mm-hmm. All right, so you said you went to summer camps to do towards summer camps, and you were telling jokes. Have you always been funny? Have you always been like the person to make everyone laugh and brighten up the room?
Oh, good question. And an awkward. I mean, what if I was just like, yes, people have always loved me. I don't know. I think that I like that in comedy. I mean, the things I like about performing comedy are that it's so immediate. Like I was saying the other day that comedy is like the art form for impatient people. It's not like sitting at home and working on your novel or, writing a script even or anything like that. Like pretty much as soon as you have something you want to say, you get up on stage and you get to see it, how it lands with people. And that's really exciting and really immediate. And it also can't really be done. There is no comedy other than the doing of it. Even music, like, yes, there's live music, but people also play music at home and there's recorded music. Like, stand-up is really about doing it in the moment in a group of people together. Also, my dad is a rabbi, so being up on stage, making people listen to you, not that different.
Where do you get your material from?
Oh, man, I think my life, and I think that comedy is nice because maybe those things that you should bite your tongue on in conversation, you can be like, all right, I'm going to save this right now, and I'm going to talk about it tonight, and that's kind of nice.
That's really cool. All right, everybody give it up for Marcus Lustig, stand-up comedian here in Nashville. He's going to stick around through the break because we do have to take a short break. We got to pay for this somehow. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Marcus and Rhonda about their approach to stand-up and get their take on the Nashville and Middle Tennessee stand-up scene. Stay with us. This is Nashville. I'm Khalil A. Kulona, and this is Nashville. Welcome back, everyone. We have a fun episode for you today. It's kind of special. We hosted a stand-up special here at Nashville Public Radio Sonic Cathedral. We're going to jump back in on stage with Nashville-based comedians Rhonda Sweat and Marcus Lustig. Welcome back to our first ever This Is Nashville stand-up special. Joining me on stage at the Nashville Public Radio Sonic Cathedral are Nashville-based comedians Rhonda Sweat and Marcus Lustig. Give it up.
Hey.
It's so great. So great to have you both here. All right, I do want to talk a little bit about the craft of stand-up comedy. It has grown a lot, particularly in the last 15 years. A lot of people are emerging. You guys yourselves have gotten into the craft over this period of time. And I want to talk a little bit about the cancel culture and comedy. We had a lot of people, a lot of old-time veteran comedians had some issues with cancel culture in comedy, feeling like it inhibited them from really being able to express and perform what they wanted. And then we had a lot of folks who were kind of making a change and taking their audience's feelings into consideration when they're developing and performing and sharing this material. Where do you all stand on that idea of comedy can sometimes, some people believe comedy can take things too far. Some people believe that comedy is best left to itself.
Nice. Going to start with a nice apolitical softball here.
I think you can say anything that you want to say on stage. You have to be good enough to say it, though. And I think a lot of comedians think that they're good enough to relay whatever that message is. And then on the second point is people can feel you. They can feel if you love them. You can be talking about, gay or transgender, things like of that nature, but they can feel if you hate them. People can feel that. And so I think that's the difference between those that did get canceled and those that didn't, is that heart. They miss the fact that people can actually feel that energy.
I agree with Rhonda in terms of like being funny or not. All the time you hear comics say a joke that offends people or that people just don't laugh at, and they're like, oh, you guys can't handle a joke about X topic? Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, dude, the guy before you just made everyone laugh with a joke about that topic. You should just get better at comedy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Also, the whole canceled thing, I mean, like, the thing is that the people who are quote-unquote canceled have built, like, billion-dollar businesses off of being canceled. So I don't even know what that term really means if, in fact, you've, like, sustained your entire brand and following around saying those exact things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think on all sides across the political spectrum, you just have to be wary of a comedy show that tips into political rally. You want to make people laugh and not like cheer and clap along with you. At least for me, Yeah. But I agree with Rhonda. Like you can say whatever you want, and then people are allowed to react however they want. Like that's always been the case,
How do you both approach like very, very touchy and tricky subjects? Sometimes there's people who come on stage and they're like, oh, it's a little bit too soon. I remember a couple weeks ago, Dave Chappelle hosted Saturday Night Live, and I watched his opening monologue. And I mean, LA was still on fire. And he had jokes about it. Some people kind of approach it like, ooh, that's a little bit too soon because it's sensitive. How do you all approach sensitive topics that someone, if you craft an unfunny joke or perform it in an unfunny manner, someone may take offense at, but you still think there's something in there where humor can be of benefit?
I would say it still comes down to skill, right? The reason he could get that over and people still laughed, he's been doing it 20 years. So he knew how to craft a joke to where it was tasteful enough and still funny and kind of lighten the mood of the tragedy that's going on. And so if you don't have that skill, don't do it. You can definitely try it at an open mic or around your fans. Your fan base will give you a little leeway, I think. But people that don't know you, they're like, what? Oh my God, we just had a school shooting. Why are you talking about that? But, so it just kind of depends on, the fan base and that skill. You have to know where you are as a comedian. I'm in this for 3 years. I'm not finna go out here and just start talking about, the plane crash from yesterday. I'm not. I mean, I'm just not skilled enough to do that. And you have to know that from where you are.
I also think it's just like, does it begin with you have something to say, or does it begin with like you feel pressure to have a take on this thing? And like I think the feeling pressure to have a take on this thing, I think that's an issue personally beyond comedy. Like I think we just live in a time where everyone's supposed to have censoring myself, a gosh darn opinion about everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like personally, my opinion is like, and I know this is ironic because I'm talking into a microphone on the radio right now, but you know, we should all just maybe shut up for a while. Is how I feel.
I agree.
And you know, so like that's what I would get on stage and say. I think it's like if you have something to say about that thing, great. But like this pressure to like maybe get on stage so that you can turn it into a clip and make content out of it is just pretty offensive, typically to whatever the topic is, you know?
Well, you know, I'm thinking about comedians in the past, George Carlin, Richard Pryor. I've been listening to a lot of them in the car these days. And it's interesting what you said, Marcus, about people just kind of looking to have a take for a clip. These are comedians who had messages in their work, you know, who really looked at society and the world and in a hilarious, genius manner, really held up a mirror so we could look at ourselves. How many, one, is that the approach you both like to take a little bit or you would like to aspire to? And how many folks in the comedy scene do you truly see doing something like that as opposed to just making content clips for clicks?
Well, I think there's a lot of awesome comedy that isn't either of those things, like that isn't being George Carlin, but also isn't just making content. Like I think there's room to just be irreverent and silly, and that's really of value as well. For me, I don't really aspire. Like if I talk about something political, it's just because I've been thinking about that. Normally, I try to turn the joke back on me. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a way to often bring people into what you're saying. You know, if I'm making, if I can make fun of myself through the point that I'm trying to make, it kind of opens the door. I'm not threatening anybody with what I'm saying, you know? I've heard, you know, and also just like a joke is kind of a deal where it's like, I make you laugh and you have to listen to what I think, you know? So that's why what Rhonda was saying about you have to hold up the other part of the deal, which is this is funny. You know, you can't just be like, you got to listen to what I have to say.
It's not my stick. Yeah, Rhonda?
So I think comedy is basically it's your unique style, whatever it is. And as you grow, it grows with you. So I really don't know where it's going to take me. As a Black female, for those that didn't know listening, obviously there are some things that have happened, you know, over the course of the last few months that would kind of trigger me to think about some things and want to say some things. And it's a little political, right? So it takes me there because that's where my life is at the moment. And so, yeah, you might have a message sometimes, but I really enjoy being silly, you know, too. And so I think it just depends. Your comedy should grow as you grow. It should change as you change. Because a part of it, it's just really you expressing yourself to many others and trying to find where you all relate.
Now, earlier in the show, you both said that, you know, you take a lot of material from your own lives, but where do you craft material? Do you have like a desk where you sit down and do work? Are you at a coffee shop? Are you at a park? Are you at your day jobs coming up with work? I did a little stand-up comedy a long time ago. I used to come up with all my stuff in the shower.
Oh, okay. Now it's all coming out.
It is. It was fun.
This is why we had this show.
I had like one good joke.
Khalil's like, and at the end of this, I thought I would maybe do 5 minutes.
You know? But like, I'm interested. Like, what environment do you need to have where you feel like, okay, I'm really on a roll coming up with new stuff?
I get inspiration from really good comics. Sometimes they just trigger something else in your mind, like it's a point of view. I dream a lot. So I wake up in the middle of the night and I jot my notes. And then later on the next day or so, I'll actually write out the actual joke. Like, so that's kind of my process right now. I have a desk, but it's full of things. And so it's no room for me to actually work on it. But I have one, just to let you know.
I would say that I really work stuff out like at open mics and on stage. You know, I think typically I have an idea. I think something's funny. Maybe I say something, maybe like moments where I'm like just being really honest and not trying to be funny. And the person I'm talking to laughs at me or laughs at what I'm saying. And I'm like, no, I'm being serious right now. those are always moments to pay attention to, kind of, because it's like I can really get behind that. I obviously actually feel that way, and something about it is making someone laugh. So normally then you get up on stage and you kind of work through it, and there's a great expression in comedy, which is like you write and the audience edits. So it's kind of like you go up there with all of it, and then you see the part that lands, and then you get rid of the rest. Or sometimes you just say, I'm going to keep saying this part that doesn't work.
Because you love it.
Yeah.
And that's part of it, right? You're doing these things because, one, you think they're funny, and you're just sharing it with others.
Right. Definitely that's a habit that holds you back and that you should let go of, but we all do it for sure.
So talk to me about the grind. I knew in Los Angeles and in Albuquerque, previous lives, I knew people who were aspiring stand-up comedians and getting work, and they always adopted this idea, this trope that comedians are depressed, they're up late, they're up late drinking and doing cocaine and in this dark space. That was the best place for me to be funny, for them to draw material from. Is that the truth? Like, what is the grind really like? Some folks think, I'm making all my colleagues laugh, I should get up on stage and try it out. What's it really like for people?
If you really want to do it, it is mics. Like, you have to get out here and you have to talk in front of people. Nashville is growing. We have a lot of opportunities. Of course, they're better in New York and LA. You got more opportunities to get up and talk to people. So it's a lot. It's a lot of labor. It's a lot to get a real good 4 minutes. You've been up how many times, Marcus, to get a really good?
A lot of times.
Right.
There are a lot of people in the city who work really hard at it. I think the thing about crazy people doing comedy is true. I don't think you have to be a freak to do comedy. Except, as a proud freak, let my freak flag fly. But I will say, a funny thing about comedy, like open mics, is the barrier. It is the lowest barrier to entry of anything. So like even an open mic for music, you gotta like have a guitar. This is like, it's not even really a requirement to speak English. So really, truly everybody can do it. And that's amazing and leads to incredible talent. It also really brings in a lot of unstable people as well.
True.
Have you both ever bombed?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
What's it feel like?
I mean, it's gut-wrenching at the moment, but you got to finish. You got to finish the bomb. You got to see the bomb all the way through. I mean, you might drive home and shed a tear or two, but you know that there's another day coming.
I kind of love it. I think it's kind of exciting. People who have watched me, they're like, yeah, he clearly loves to bomb. I think there's something about, first of all, on a regular day that you can go up on stage and actually risk something. Like, the fact that you can bomb makes it meaningful. If that wasn't there, it wouldn't be exciting at all.
And everybody would do it. And we would be so sad.
Yeah.
To listen.
Exactly.
Does it feel like I imagine you get used to rejection pretty quickly and easily when you bomb?
For sure. The other day, I was at an open mic, and a guy was there because he had lost his fantasy football league. And his punishment for losing the league was to do an open mic of comedy. And I was like, this is really funny, but also sort of hurtful because your punishment is my dream. Also, I thought it was a hilarious version, too, of like the extents like bro-y dudes will go to make excuses to express themselves. Like that was his punishment. Like that another one of them would be like, dude, it'd be so funny. Like if this year, like the loser of our league, like what if he had to paint? Like watercolors, man. Like, wouldn't that be like hilarious and stupid? Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of rejection involved, but it's kind of fun. You kind of feel cool about it.
You get back up and you do it again. The craziest thing I saw for a fantasy football loser, a guy flew into town, lived in New York, flew to Albuquerque wearing a too small pink onesie, and he had to hang out in town all day, take pictures, and fly back that next day. He came into my bar, I gave him free drinks. I really want to thank you both so much for being here. Rhonda Sweat and Marcus Lussick are both Nashville-based comedians. We'll have links to their websites on our website at thisisnashville.org if you want to follow them and find out where they'll be performing next. Thanks again to you both for being here and bringing us laughs. We really needed it. All right, y'all. And thanks to you for tuning in this hour. This is Nashville is a production of Nashville Public Radio. Today's episode was produced by Katherine Ceicys. Give her a round of applause. It was directed by Tasha A.F. Lemley. Our technical director and board operators, Liv Lombardi. The masterminds behind our theme music are LaRange and Namir Blade. Special thanks to Michael Pollard from WNXP for the tech help. You can listen back at thisisnashville.org or wherever you get good podcasts, and the conversation never ends here. Comment and tell us what you want to hear on the show by leaving us a message, 615-751-2500. Hit us up on all the socials, Blue Sky, Instagram, and X at This Is Nashville. This is Nashville. I'm Khalil Akelona. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. And be good to each other.